and welcome to episode 4 of the Rhode Island Summer of Soccer podcast. We are continuing our celebration of culture, community, and competition as the Ocean State gets ready to welcome the world to soccer in Southern New England. I'm your host, Joe Kayata, a lifelong Rhode Islander and someone who's been lucky enough to cover some of the world's biggest sporting events as a sportscaster. With the World Cup coming to New England next summer and Bryant University, along with graduate by Hilton Providence, hopefully hosting a team, the Ocean State will look to not only welcome visitors, but create a lasting impact for our communities, our economy, and especially our youth. Today, we're joined by two leaders helping ensure that soccer's global moment leaves a local legacy. Jonathan Walker is the executive director of the Rhode Island Sports Commission, working to position Rhode Island as a premier destination for sports, tourism, and economic growth. And Darius Shirzadi, the executive director and co-founder of Project Goal, an organization using soccer as a vehicle for opportunity, access, and empowerment for young people across our state and beyond. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on.
All right, Jonathan, we'll start with you. Big picture with the World Cup being played just up the road in Foxborough. What does this moment mean for Rhode Island? How is the Sports Commission thinking about the opportunity that's really in front of us?
It's a huge moment. It's a huge moment for Rhode Island, for the New England region, and really for the country, right? Whether you're hosting a game or not. It's the biggest World Cup that we've ever seen. It's the first time it'll be shared amongst 3 countries. The tournament itself is larger than ever. So we're going from 64 matches to 104, 32 teams to 48 nations, which means the footprint is massive. And for us here in Rhode Island, 7 of those matches are happening just 25 miles up the road. So that kind of proximity is a real opportunity. The World Cup doesn't just live inside a stadium. It shows up everywhere: hotels, restaurants, transportation, retail. So we're excited to welcome people from all over the world to Rhode Island because of how close we are to Boston Stadium. That proximity is important, but we're just as excited about the participation, right? Getting our communities involved, engaged, and excited.
Yeah, and from that economic standpoint, Jonathan, what kind of impact can a global event like this, like the World Cup, have on a small state like Rhode Island, especially when it comes to, as you mentioned, tourism, hospitality, and small business? What's that economic impact that we're looking for?
It's massive. It's massive. And that's whether you're talking about the direct, indirect, or induced spending. That direct impact, that's the first wave of spending you'll see. Hotel bookings, people eating in our restaurants, shopping at local businesses. You'll feel that. Then there's the indirect impact, right? I call that kind of the supply chain ripple. More people in hotels means hotels are ordering more, food orders. There are more linen. So there's a ton of that supply chain impact indirectly. And then there's the induced impact, right? The workforce from the hospitality community, they take a portion of that paycheck and put it back into the local economy. And it's a huge part of what our day-to-day work is at the Sports Commission. But this event really gives us a chance to go beyond the economics and like you said, create a lasting legacy. So that's one part that we're really excited about, helping shape the next generation of youth athletes here in Rhode Island. And the World Cup coming to our region gives us a huge chance to do that.
Yeah. Darius, your work with Project Goal has always been about using soccer for something more than just the game itself, right? For our listeners who may not know, can you explain Project Goal's mission and how soccer becomes a tool really for change?
Yeah, so Project Goal stands for Greater Opportunity for Athletes to Learn. Our main mission and focus has always been on education, but creating opportunities for kids that we service. So we're after-school program in its 22nd year. It's free of charge. We provide everything to the kids, including tutoring, mentoring, coaching, transportation if they need it, school supplies, soccer equipment, and we're basically trying to teach them how to be better people. But our main mission is to make sure that these kids understand how important their education is, but using soccer as the carrot to keep them motivated and positive.
Yeah, it's an incredible program that you guys have going on over there. And actually, you recently received support through that FIFA Foundation, which is a major international recognition. What does that grant represent, and how can it advance the work that you're doing here in Rhode Island?
So it's actually the 16th time that we've received this grant. It's just a validation that what we're doing in what I call the Soccer for Good space is very meaningful and very impactful. I mean, we've got some great stories over 22 years of students going through our program and what they're doing now. But a lot of them that you'll talk to, they'll say a lot of what they've learned in terms of discipline and their education help them to get to where they are.
Can you believe where you've come from to where you are now? Like you said, 22 years, and you've impacted a lot of lives, right?
Yeah, we had 20 kids in our first year. We're now over 200 that we serviced during the course of a school year. Central Falls, Providence, and Woonsocket are the locations that we're in, and we're in discussions about expanding to other cities within Rhode Island and even outside of Rhode Island.
That's incredible. Jonathan, supporting grassroots soccer also helps Rhode Island attract governing bodies, right? Like U.S. Soccer and large-scale tournament organizers. Can you explain why a strong local soccer ecosystem makes Rhode Island an attractive host destination at the end of the day? I know that's part of the legacy arm of the Ocean State 2026.
It is. It certainly is. A strong local and grassroots ecosystem signals to national governing bodies, like a U.S. Soccer, that Rhode Island is the right place to host their event, right? One of the first things that they're looking for outside of fields and facilities is that community buy-in. And you really can't build a world-class event without with a weak local foundation. So having that grassroots support, having organizations like Project Goal, here in Rhode Island, it just builds a strong foundation. The leagues, the clubs, the nonprofits, the volunteers, they all make up a solid local infrastructure. We might not have the massive 12 or 20 field complexes that you see in other parts of the country, but for a small state, Rhode Island packs a big punch. We really do. Successful high school and collegiate programs, of course, the RAFC, beautiful stadium. So the ecosystem's already here. We're just really hoping that the World Cup becomes a catalyst and helps us build on what's already existing and then hopefully create some new programming that can help leave a lasting impact.
And Darius, to build off what Jonathan just said, the growth of soccer, you probably seen it the most, being in the communities and saw the growth over the last 22 years. Can you talk about that growth and how Rhode Island is really into soccer right now?
Yeah, you can go back to the last World Cup that was here in the U.S. back in 1994. I was just out of college. I actually volunteered to be at one of the base camps, which was at Babson College at the time. They hosted Argentina, and I got to see Diego Maradona up close. So fast forward till now, you now have a major professional league in Major League Soccer, which didn't exist before that. You have the USL with Rhode Island FC. And the sport has absolutely exploded. If you could go back to 1994, there was not soccer on TV that you could watch. There was, now we have soccer channels that you can watch soccer all over the world 24 hours a day. So the involvement, both from a youth and adult level and the fandom around it, it's unbelievable. And it's difficult to think about how much bigger that's going to get after the World Cup comes.
Yeah, the World Cup effect is always a major influence on communities that goes to. Touching on what you just said, though, when a World Cup comes to town, like you said, it hasn't come since 1994. When it comes to town, what's that lasting effect that it can have on programs like you and then the youth that you really serve to see these guys up close?
Yeah, it's the exposure for a program like ours on an international level. You have the eyes of the whole country, the whole world on New England, absolutely, for the games that are going on. But for the kids to experience, a once in a lifetime, maybe a once in a generation type of event where maybe they'll get to see a training at Bryant University. They'll get to meet players up close. Maybe, players and sometimes they have the FIFA legends go around the communities in the areas where they're going to play games. Imagine having ex-players coming to Central Falls and doing a clinic with the kids. So, to get up close to see the people that they sometimes read, in magazines or on the internet or on TV will be, again, something they'll never forget.
Yeah, Jonathan, coming off of that, Common Goal, right? You guys are a part of. Can you explain what that is and how that maybe works with Project Goal and how beneficial that is to the Sports Commission?
Absolutely. So Common Goal, we're very excited to partner with Common Goal. They're the home of Football for Good, right? Or Soccer for Good. It's a global collective, over 200 organizations. They serve, nearly 4 million youth athletes. I mentioned that Project Goal is a member of Common Goal. So I'm sure Darius can speak to what that, collective has helped his organization. But from Ocean State 26 standpoint, Common Goal and the Soccer Forward Foundation have formed a partnership Soccer Forward Foundation is essentially U.S. soccer's national legacy campaign, right? So we're partnering to ensure that the tournament's impact extends well beyond the final whistle. So together, the two organizations, Soccer Forward and Common Goal, have launched what's called Soccer Forward Fest. And Ocean State 26 is going to be registered as a Soccer Forward Fest. It really gives a chance for the different community groups to tell their story, right? Whether it's a cultural celebration, a youth tournament, a block party, it helps shape kind of the national collective legacy by unlocking that culture of soccer. And it's really unique because the work that we're doing at Ocean State 26 and all of the youth groups that are going to be putting on camps and clinics, they get to share their message of, what score matters to them. And then Common Goal and the Soccer Forward Foundation are going to help us elevate that message and really help us tell the stories of the different communities, the different cultural groups here in Rhode Island through the lens of soccer. So it's pretty exciting. We're excited about that partnership.
And Darius, could you talk about that partnership in Common Goal, and have you had interactions with them and what they bring to the table at an event this large?
Yeah, so as Jonathan mentioned, it's the International Collective of Soccer for Good organizations. And all the organizations use soccer for some kind of positive social impact at the end. Ours is education, personal responsibility and accountability, but there's conflict resolution, there's AIDS prevention. I mean, all the different organizations across the world do something a little bit different, but involve soccer. And there's going to be a great opportunity, and we've participated in different festivals in other countries when FIFA events have been going on, and bring our kids to do an intercultural exchange with kids from those other organizations, and they can see what they're doing. So it really gives them a very good global view of what soccer can do.
Yeah. Access is huge in local sports. How does Project Goal break down those barriers, whether it's financial, cultural, geographic, so that kids can really benefit? Because at the end of the day, they want to benefit and learn from the game and all the great things that you guys were teaching.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why kids don't participate in, after-school sports and programs is because of two main things that we've realized when we started Project Goal. One is financial. Fees can be a hindrance to kids participating because of the family economic situation, and also transportation. If there's an activity going on, how do you get there? If the family does not own a car, you don't put an 8-year-old kid on the bus to send him somewhere to go. So we try to take away those barriers so that it's easy for the kids to participate, and then we're able to institute our philosophy of the program and kind of shape the way that we want the kids to understand how it works.
Mayor Rivera was recently on our podcast, and she was talking about how representation matters in your communities, seeing people that look like them, sound like them, talk like them. It really matters, and it can help leave a lasting impression with the World Cup effect. Can you talk about the lasting impression that these players, for a kid from Central Falls, Woonsocket, Providence, will see and be like, he's like me. Maybe I can do that one day.
Yeah, I mean, it goes from obviously watching players from the different countries on TV. I mean, all the kids are familiar with, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, those are the big names, right? But then they can also see from like our alum who've come through our program, who've gone on to play high school soccer, college soccer. They're now professionals, whether they're doctors or lawyers. I mean, we do also have kids who've become professional soccer players from Project Goal. So those kids are from Rhode Island. They're from the communities that they're in, and they've been sitting in those classrooms that they're sitting in Project Goal. So they can directly connect. They speak their language sometimes if it's not English. And it makes a tremendous opportunity and impression that, yes, they can do what they're doing right now because they did what they were back when they were 12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan, going back to the Sports Commission and kind of what you guys do and are really good at is bringing big events to Rhode Island. When I was at Channel 10, I covered so many gymnastic events where you guys would bring thousands of kids from across the country. And the economic impact was incredible because they were staying at the hotels, eating at the restaurants. Like, how big is that for us locally? And then just bringing events similar to this, or even soccer events or any type of events to the Ocean State to build the love of the game and obviously at the end of the day, the economic impact.
It's huge, and it instills confidence, right? If you're a large event rights holder, you want to know that there's the ecosystem in place to be able to handle a large scale event. And like I said, that stretches far beyond the facilities or the hotels. They want to make sure that the soccer community is behind it. And so having organizations like Project Goal, having the strong grassroots, ecosystem that we have in place, it only enhances Rhode Island's reputation in the eyes of large events rights holders. So it's huge. And you want to talk about legacy. This program, Darius's program, has been going on for 20 plus years. He has alumni that went through the program. Now their own kids are in that program. I mean, that is the legacy. So we're excited to build on those initiatives and build on those programs that are already in place. But then hopefully, use it as a catalyst to spark some new interest in soccer, whether that's participatory or new fans. It's really exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, and you just touched on that growth in the kids in 22 years. You mentioned earlier, Darius, about growing the program to other states. Can a World Cup effect help you with that, where people are really into it now and maybe other cities and towns across Rhode Island will need it, and that can help you get your program out there more?
Yeah, I think, again, it's about exposure. I mean, to tell the story of the impact that Project Goal has done, maybe gets the eye of somebody from another town or city, a mayor, a superintendent, to want something like a Project Goal to expand to their community and see how it can help. It can help enhance, extra learning within the community, but also accessibility, to playing sports, to education. So, and again, that's what we're all about. It's just creating opportunities through the game.
Jonathan, as visitors pass through Rhode Island next summer, whether they're staying overnight or just exploring, what do you hope they walk away saying about their visit to the Ocean State?
I hope for first-time visitors that they enjoy their time, enough in Rhode Island to encourage repeat visitation. Whether that's a planned family vacation, maybe they're visiting one of our colleges or universities, maybe a job interview. So I really hope the event kind of closes that tourism, life cycle from a visitation standpoint. But I also really hope that it fosters some increased, sense of community, some community pride. And that it's something that Rhode Islanders feel special to be a part of. I think sometimes our size, people feel that as a limitation. I'm hoping that people see our size as a differentiator, right? Our proximity, our community, kind of that 1 degree of separation. So from a visitation standpoint, I'm hoping to bring visitors back after the World Cup. But locally, I'm hoping it sparks some community pride, especially in the youth soccer space.
And I know this is on a much larger scale, but every week, the Patriots have a home game, especially playoffs, AFC Championship. Providence is their base. The opposing teams stay in Providence. A lot of fans come to Providence or throughout Rhode Island. The restaurants are jammed. So is that kind of like a test run for something like at this magnitude? Because you guys do it on a week in and week out basis throughout the football season, throughout the summer concert season.
It is. Like I said, our proximity, 25 miles to the north, having that type of venue is huge. And we've partnered with Boston and with Gillette on previous events. The Army-Navy game was a good example where we hosted a couple hundred midshipmen in Providence for an overnight stay. So the proximity is key, and that gets a lot of the headlines. But again, proximity is important, but I really want to stress participation. Right? We want the community to be involved. We want their stories to be told. We want stories like Project Goals to be amplified. So that's why I think partnering with Common Goal and the Soccer Forward Foundation will help elevate, those story-making opportunities.
And Darius, if you could say a message to a kid who's either watching World Cup next summer or maybe lucky enough to go to one of the base camp practices, what would you say to them about the takeaway and what they can do and maybe how it can motivate them to get to that level?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the inspiration of the energy and excitement around the game. So try to experience and milk as much as they can out of the event. I mean, I know, coming from New York originally, I'm the son of an immigrant that introduced soccer to me. But I think until I actually experienced a World Cup, I never really understood the impact and the power that the game has. So I'm hoping that happens for our kids this summer.
Awesome. Great stuff by both of you guys. Some really great insights. It's now time, though, of the show for the lightning round. It's called One Touch, where we want our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So we ask you questions, quick answers only. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, Jonathan, we will start with you. First soccer memory that still makes you smile.
Oh, this is an easy one for me. My first paycheck. My first job was a referee at a local league, and getting that first paycheck, you should see the grin on my face now, but it was even bigger back then. So that's an easy one. First paycheck.
Good answer. Darius, how about you?
kicking the ball with my shoelaces with my dad. First time he rolled a soccer ball to me.
That's good. That's hard to teach young kids too. Favorite place in Rhode Island to clear your head? Jonathan?
Ooh, to clear my head, I'm going to stay Colt State Park.
Bristol.
Yeah, in Bristol. If
spot,
I'm clearing my head, yeah.
All right.
Roger Wheeler Beach, Narragansett.
Two good answers. Go to hype song if you're preparing to play in a World Cup match. Now, if you guys were preparing to play in a match, what would be your hype song that you had in the headphones walking out to the field?
Darius, I'll let you take this one.
One Vision, Queen.
All right.
Mine would probably be some heavy metal, maybe some Metallica to get amped up.
Okay. What's one skill from sports that translates directly to life? And Darius, you probably have a good answer for that, considering you teach kids this every day.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a skill. I would just say the ball is always moving forward. Just like in life, you have a goal. In soccer, you're going towards the goal, whether the ball goes backwards or forwards. It's always moving forward, and the ultimate goal is to score. So you tell those to the kids, right? Whether you get knocked back in life, you're always going forward.
Great stuff.
That is great. I would say teamwork for me, right? Teamwork and collaboration. You see it on and off the pitch.
Yeah, especially in life after soccer, Messi or Ronaldo? I know this could be a tough one for you guys. No explanation allowed.
Messi for me.
Ronaldo, I'm a Real Madrid fan, so.
Okay. One word that you would hope will describe Rhode Island come next summer.
Say welcoming. I hope the destination is welcoming, our communities are welcoming, and that we're ready to, like I said, welcome the world to Rhode Island.
Transformational. I think it's, a World Cup comes around once a generation. It's like 30 plus days of Super Bowl.
Really is. Really. All right. Jonathan, Darius, thank you both for joining us today and for the work you're doing to make sure soccer's biggest moment leads to something lasting here in Rhode Island. This has really been a great conversation.
We can't leave without reversing the role here. We're going to go one touch to Joe. Joe, what is your prediction as we sit here today? The winner of the 2026 FIFA World Cup will be
Team USA. Easy. Right?
Good answer.
Good answer. I have to say that, but it's a good answer. For more information, visit Rhode-IslandSummerofSoccer.com and follow RI Summer of Soccer on social media for updates, events, and ways to get involved. I'm Joe Kayata, and this has been the Rhode Island Summer of Soccer podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode as we prepare for a summer to remember.